Greetings, I'm Zachary Hepner. I'm pleased to share this Dvar Torah with you for Parashat Toldot. Shakespeare's King Lear, ready to divide his kingdom into three parts between his three daughters, Goneril, Regan, and Cordelia, wants to determine which portions to give to each of his daughters. He asks them, "Which of you, shall we say, doth love us most?" Goneril claims to love her father no less than life, and Regan declares herself an enemy to all other joys. However, Cordelia refuses to answer because she loves him very dearly, and she assumes he knows that. In anger, King Lear disinherits her, gives her portion to her sisters, and sends her away in disgrace. As the tragedy unfolds, it is revealed that Cordelia, in fact, does love her father, and as they turn on Lear, Cordelia remains loyal to her father despite his harsh treatment of her. Once King Lear realizes that his two eldest daughters cannot be trusted, it is too late. Had she felt untrue to herself, and had she invented some verbal adulation, there would have been no story. Chazal saw something special in Esau. He is the biblical role model for kibud av, honoring one's father. What clues in the Torah tipped them off? Let's start with the connection between Esau and the Shofet Samson and King Lear's Cordelia. Samson is a miracle child. His mother was graced with a godly annunciation. He and his parents observed some sort of Nazir laws from his conception, which implies Samson had a more hairy complex than a less hirsute person, and Samson can hunt a lion with his bare hands. Esau, too, was a miracle child. Rebekah had an oracle experience without Isaac present. Esau was a hunter, or at least ate venison, and he too was hirsute. Avimelech, the Philistine king, and his secretary of war, Pichol, visit Isaac and urge Isaac to make a generational treaty. Whether Isaac agrees to the treaty or if they just have a mishteh with eating and wine is unclear. Years later, yet subsequently, in the narrative, Esau marries two Hittite women. Esau's parents are displeased. Skip to the end of the Toldot Esau, where Esau's son, Eliphaz, had a concubine named Timnah. Chazal teach that Timnah wanted to be connected to the Abraham seed and took whatever she could get. In her case, it was being Eliphaz's concubine. The name Timnah resonates with the place called Timnah in Judges 14. Vayered Shimshon Timnata, Vayar Isha betimnata mibnot haplishtim. Samson descends to Timnah. He sees a Philistine woman in Timnah. He asks his parents for her hand. They respond, "Aren't there enough daughters of your kinsmen that you want to marry a disgusting Philistine?" The rest of the story is history. With very few clues about Esau, those facts present must be the clues. We know that Esau ate venison or was a hunter, and that Esau ate Jacob's stew, and he rejected his birthright. Why would anyone in their right mind reject their birthright unless they have an ulterior motive or a backup plan? In the case of Cordelia, she had conjured some fictitious adulation. Had she done that, she could have gotten more than a third. And since she had refused to cooperate, she lost her entire portion. Cordelia had been presumptuous with an oxymoron of what I call unconditional quid pro quo love. She understood her father, she loved her father unconditionally and expected him to return his love to her unconditionally. Chazal understood the Cordelia model because Esau too was not playing by the birthright rules. He was playing by the love rules, that father will love me the most because I honor him the most. However, both Esau and Cordelia were mistaken. Rules are rules, play by them or lose by them. They both had thought their good standing was sufficient. In a sense, Esav was correct because his inheritance of Seir was protected territory in the end of the Bible, when God did not permit the Israelites to pass through Seir because it was Esav's land and Esav's to control. Chazal inferred that Esav would only gamble the birthright because he considers himself in such good standing with his father. That must also be the same reason because such a person would be good at the mitzvah of kibud av, or else he wouldn't have made such a trade or gamble. Similarly, with Samson, like Cyrano de Bergerac, physically strong, yet relying on his parents or others to arrange his marriage. Now we can understand the Esav descent. Samson had the courtesy to ask his parents to marry the Philistine woman, yet Esav took his own initiative in marrying the Hittite women. Whether or not Isaac did or did not make a pact with Abimelech, it's clear that Isaac's reticence showed his unwillingness to intermingle with the locals. Esav's subsequent marriage with Judith the Hittite and Basmat the Hittite showed his parents that his partial nature was self-serving, not unconditional love. Too late does Lear discover that Cordelia is his only daughter who truly loves him unconditionally, which made a great tragedy. Esav, having been denied the purloined blessing, showed his true cards when he married his third wife and cousin, Machalat, daughter of Ishmael, al-Nashav. Chazal comment, he did not send away his first wives, but added Machalat to attempt to appease his parents. He may have been about his tribe, but he was about himself first. Israelite heroes put their tribe's need before their own. Wishing you all a Shabbat Shalom.